we are also following some heartbreaking news tonight in the case of a young woman from Prince George's County who went missing 2 weeks ago. Today, police confirmed 19-year-old Dacara Thompson's body has been found, and they say her killer has been arrested. Our KED Lusso spoke with Dacara's family and walks us through what we've learned from new court documents tonight. And I do have to warn you, some of these details are deeply disturbing.
19-year-old Dacara Thompson's body found after reported missing by family nearly 1 week later. It was just before midnight on August 22, 2025. She had left their home in Maryland to get gas for her car. A simple trip that should have taken 20 minutes. She never made it home. What happened in those missing hours would shock an entire state and leave a family destroyed. But before we get into this case, I want to ask you something. Have you ever felt unsafe walking alone at night, or worried about a family member who was out late? Let me know in the comments below. Welcome to our channel. Right now there are thousands of young women like Dacara who are going about their daily lives completely unaware that dangerous predators are walking free in their communities because our system has failed to stop them. If you want to help spread awareness about personal safety and the deadly gaps in our justice system that cost innocent lives, then please like this video, share it, and subscribe to this channel. Your action now could help protect another young woman who might be in danger. Dacara was a bright young woman who had just graduated high school. She worked for a non-profit organization and wanted to make a difference in her community. She lived with her father, Daniel, in Prince George's County just outside Washington, D.C. They were close. They texted each other regularly. That night, Dacara told her dad she needed gas. She drove her white Ford Edge to a gas station. She filled up her tank. She sent that final text message. Then something went terribly wrong. 2 days later, police found her car abandoned. Her purse was still inside with her money and credit cards, but Dacara was nowhere to be found. Her phone was missing and had been turned off. For 2 weeks, her family searched everywhere. They put up flyers, they walked through neighborhoods calling her name. They never stopped hoping she would come home. But on August 31st, Maryland State Police made a discovery that would change everything. They found a body near a highway. It was Dacara. The question everyone wanted answered was simple. Who killed this innocent young woman? The answer would reveal a crime so brutal that it would haunt investigators forever. Dacara Thompson was just 19 years old when her life was cut short. She had recently graduated from St. Charles High School in Waldorf, Maryland. Her teachers and classmates remembered her as someone who always wanted to help others. After graduation, Dacara made a choice that showed exactly who she was. Instead of going straight to college or looking for any job, she joined something called the Maryland Service Year Option. This program is for young people who want to spend a year helping their communities right after high school. Governor Wes Moore later said that Dacara raised her hand right out of high school to join this program. She was working at a local nonprofit organization. Her job was all about serving others and making her community a better place. Dacara also had a deep love for the arts and hoped to use her creativity to solve problems. Dacara lived with her father, Daniel Thompson, in Lanham, Maryland. This is a quiet area about 13 miles from Washington, D.C. The two of them were very close. Daniel was a single father who had raised Dacara to be kind and caring. They talked every day and texted each other regularly. Friends and family described Dacara as a bright light. She was the kind of person who made others feel better just by being around. She had big dreams for her future. She wanted to continue helping people and maybe work in public service for years to come. Dacara was also a new driver. She had only recently gotten comfortable driving on her own. Her white Ford Edge was still fairly new to her. She was careful behind the wheel and always told her father where she was going. This was a young woman with everything to live for. She had plans, dreams, and people who loved her deeply. August 22nd, 2025 started like any other day for Dacara and her father, Daniel. They spent time together at their home in Lanham. Dacara was relaxed and seemed happy. Nothing about her behavior suggested anything was wrong. Around 10 p.m. that night, Dacara realized she needed gas for her car. She told her father she was going out to fill up her tank. This was a normal thing for her to do. There were several gas stations nearby, and she had made this trip many times before. Daniel wasn't worried. His daughter was responsible and always kept in touch. She grabbed her keys, said goodbye, and drove off in her white Ford Edge. Later that night, Daniel and Dacara exchanged text messages. She told him she had gotten gas and was heading home. Her final message came just before midnight. "I got gas and I'm out. I should be back soon. I love you too. Good night."
Weeks.
I should be back soon. I love you too. Good night.
That's the text she sent her father just before midnight, the night of August 22nd.
Daniel went to sleep, expecting to see his daughter in the morning. But when he woke up, Dacara wasn't home. Her bed hadn't been slept in. This was completely unlike her. Dacara always came home when she said she would. Daniel tried calling her phone, but it went straight to voicemail. He sent text messages but got no response. Hours passed with no word from Dacara. By the next day, Daniel knew something was seriously wrong. He called the police and reported his daughter missing. According to court documents, surveillance video shows Thompson park her Ford Edge SUV and walking to a parking lot behind a Family Dollar store on University Boulevard in the Langley Park area. Video shows her approach the driver's side of a black Yukon Denali, talk to the driver for a minute, then get into the front passenger seat, court documents say. On August 24th, 2 days after Dacara disappeared, someone spotted her car. The white Ford Edge was parked in front of a fire hydrant across from the Chilham Adelphi Volunteer Fire Station. The car was facing the wrong direction, as if someone had parked it quickly without thinking. Police searched the vehicle and found Dacara's purse inside. Her credit cards were there, her cash was there, everything looked normal, except for two important things. Her phone was gone, and so was her key fob. The phone had been turned off or destroyed. Police couldn't track it anymore. This told them that whoever took Dacara knew enough to disable her phone right away. Daniel and other family members started their own search. They walked through neighborhoods calling Dacara's name. They put up missing person flyers everywhere. They checked with friends, co-workers, and anyone who might have seen her. But as days passed with no sign of Dacara, hope began to fade. When the police found Dacara's abandoned car, her family refused to give up hope. Daniel Thompson and Dacara's mother Carmen took charge of the search efforts. They weren't going to sit around waiting for answers. Every single day, Carmen and Daniel walked through different areas looking for their daughter. Carmen would go into wooded areas and thick brush, searching anywhere Dacara might be. She even found what looked like a metal trapdoor that was chained shut. She called down into it, shouting, "Hello? Hello!" hoping against hope that Dacara might be trapped somewhere. "I'm exhausting any resource, anything I can think of," Carmen told reporters during the search.
So why here? Why are you looking here?
I'm exhausting any resource, anything that I can think of. I noticed this yesterday when I rode by to go to the location. I noticed it from my right view when I was riding by, and I made a note to come back and check here also this morning.
Daniel stayed strong for his family, but the fear was eating him alive. "I'm scared but still hopeful," he said at the time. The family printed hundreds of missing person flyers with Dacara's photo. They handed them out to anyone who would take one. They posted them on telephone poles, in store windows, and anywhere people might see them. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers joined the search. People who had never met Dacara were walking through their own neighborhoods looking for any sign of her. The community came together in a way that showed how much this case affected everyone. While the family searched on foot, police were looking at something else: security cameras. They collected video from gas stations, stores, and traffic cameras all over the area where Dacara had last been seen. Then they found something important. Video from the early morning hours of August 23rd showed Dacara parking her Ford Edge near a Family Dollar store on University Boulevard in the Langley Park area. The footage showed her getting out of her car and walking toward a parking lot behind the store. What happened next was captured on camera, but it raised more questions than answers. The video showed Dacara walking up to a black GMC Yukon Denali. She approached the driver's side and started talking to whoever was inside. After about a minute of conversation, she walked around to the passenger side and got into the vehicle. The black SUV then drove away with Dacara inside. This video changed everything. It proved that Dacara had gotten into someone else's car willingly. But who was driving, and why did she get in? What would you do if this was your family member? Would you keep searching, or would this video make you fear the worst? On August 31, 2025, 9 days after Dacara disappeared, Maryland State Police were responding to a completely different call. They were helping with a disabled vehicle near Route 50 in Anne Arundel County. This area was about 7 miles from where Dacara was last seen alive. While dealing with the broken-down car, one of the officers noticed something in a grassy area off the highway. There, on an embankment near the South River, they found a body. The body was that of a young woman. She had no clothes on and had been there for several days. The location was remote, hidden from the main road. Someone had clearly tried to hide what they had done. Police immediately called for backup and crime scene investigators. They knew this could be connected to one of the missing person cases they were working on. When they looked closer, they could see that this woman had suffered terrible injuries. The victim had skull fractures and facial fractures. These injuries told police that she had either been beaten severely or had fallen from a great height. Given where the body was found, near a bridge over the South River, investigators believed she had been thrown off the bridge. The drop was more than 30 feet down to the water below. The hardest part came next, identifying who this was. The body had been in the elements for over a week, making identification difficult. But the victim had distinctive tattoos and was wearing specific jewelry that helped police figure out who she was. When they compared the tattoos and jewelry to missing person reports, they got the answer they were dreading. This was Dacara Thompson. Daniel Thompson had to go through the horrible process of confirming that this was his daughter. The tattoos and jewelry were exactly what Dacara had been wearing the night she disappeared. The news hit the community like a punch to the stomach. For over 2 weeks, people had been hoping and praying that Dacara would be found alive. Now those hopes were destroyed. Maryland Governor Wes Moore released a statement that captured how everyone was feeling. Our entire state mourns the horrible loss of Dacara Thompson, who was taken from us by an act of senseless violence. County Executive Aisha Braveboy spoke for the community when she said, "She means so much to so many, and so it is tough that we're at this point where the search is over and justice begins." The search for Dacara was over. Now the hunt for her killer could begin. With Dakara's body found, police had to figure out who was driving that black GMC Yukon Denali. They started by looking at the video, again and again, trying to get any details about the vehicle or the driver. The breakthrough came when investigators used cell phone data. They tracked the movements of phones in the area where Dacara was last seen. One phone stood out because it moved in the exact same pattern as the black SUV in the video. That phone belonged to a 35-year-old man named Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez. He was originally from Guatemala and had been living in the United States illegally. Hernandez Mendez worked for a landscaping company based in Baltimore and lived in a house in Bowie, Maryland. Police discovered that Hernandez Mendez owned a black GMC Yukon Denali XL with Maryland license plates. This matched exactly what they saw in the video of Dacara getting into the vehicle. When investigators looked deeper into his background, they found some disturbing information. According to court records, a cousin told police that the defendant has a drinking and drug problem. This wasn't his first run-in with law enforcement either. On April 25, 2025, just 4 months before Dakara's murder, U.S. Park Police had arrested Hernandez Mendez for driving under the influence. He was stopped on the Baltimore-Washington Parkway near Annapolis Road. Even though he was in the country illegally, the federal government released him and told him to come back for his trial date. Armed with this information, police got a search warrant for Hernandez Mendez's home on Kembridge Drive in Bowie. What they found inside would shock even experienced investigators. In Hernandez-Mendez's bedroom, police discovered what they believed to be Dacara's blood. They also found a white and pink French manicured fingernail that had been ripped off during a struggle. There was hair, a wig, and other evidence that showed Dacara had been in that room. The evidence suggested there had been a violent fight.
Police say they found bloodstains, women's lingerie, hair from a wig consistent with one Dacara Thompson wore, and a fingernail that matches one missing from Thompson's hand. An autopsy reveals she had skull and facial fractures.
Yeah, this is just really sad. ICE officials tell us that Hernandez-Mendez is in the country illegally. U.S. Park Police arrested him in April on a DUI, but for some reason, he was released.
Police also found multiple pairs of women's underwear and lingerie in the room and in the trash, which raised questions about whether Dacara was Hernandez-Mendez's only victim. But perhaps the most disturbing evidence came from Hernandez-Mendez's roommate. This person told police that on the morning of August 23rd, he heard Hernandez-Mendez in his bedroom with a woman. The roommate said he heard them having sex, but then heard a grunting noise which made it believed that someone wasn't enjoying the sex. This testimony suggested that what started as a sexual encounter had turned violent. The roommate's account matched the physical evidence police found in the bedroom. Police now had enough evidence to arrest Hernandez-Mendez. They believed he had taken Dacara to his home, killed her in his bedroom, and then disposed of her body by throwing it off the Route 50 bridge. The question that remained was simple. Why did Dacara get into his vehicle in the first place? Based on the evidence police collected, investigators were able to put together what happened to Dacara during those final hours of her life. After Dacara sent her last text message to her father at midnight, she didn't go straight home like she said she would. Instead, she drove to the Langley Park area on University Boulevard. This was near a nightclub called Galaxy, where Hernandez-Mendez later told police he had gone that night. Hernandez-Mendez claimed he went to Galaxy to meet his ex-girlfriend, but she never showed up. At some point around 3 a.m. on August 23rd, he was in the parking lot behind the Family Dollar store when Dacara approached his black SUV. The video shows Dacara walking up to the driver's side of his vehicle. She talked to Hernandez-Mendez for about a minute. Then she walked around to the passenger's side and got in willingly. Police still don't know why Dacara got into his car. They're investigating whether the two knew each other before that night, but so far, they haven't found any connection. It's possible she needed help with something, or maybe Hernandez-Mendez offered her something that made her trust him. What we do know is that Hernandez-Mendez drove Dacara to his home on Cambridge Drive in Bowie. This was about 6 miles from where she got into his vehicle. The drive would have taken around 15 minutes. Once they got to his house, Hernandez-Mendez took Dacara to his bedroom. What happened next was heard by his roommate, who was in another part of the house. The roommate told police he heard sexual activity coming from Hernandez-Mendez's room, but then the sounds changed. He heard grunting noises that made him think someone wasn't enjoying the sex. This suggests that what may have started as consensual activity turned into something violent. The physical evidence in the bedroom backs up this account. Police found Dacara's blood, her torn-off fingernail, hair, and a wig. All of this evidence pointed to a serious struggle that took place in that room. After killing Dacara, Hernandez-Mendez had to get rid of her body. He loaded her into his SUV and drove to the Route 50 bridge over the South River. This location was about 7 miles from his house. According to court documents, Hernandez-Mendez threw Dacara's body off the bridge. The drop was more than 30 feet down to the water below. He probably thought the river would carry her body away and she would never be found. But his plan didn't work. Dacara's body washed up on the riverbank where it was discovered by Maryland State Police 9 days later. The evidence was clear. Hugo Hernandez-Mendez had murdered Dacara Thompson in cold blood. The investigation into Dacara's murder involved multiple police departments working together. Prince George's County Police led the case, but they got help from Maryland State Police, Anne Arundel County Police, and even federal agencies. Police Chief George Nader from Prince George's County said there was still a lot of investigative work to be done in this case. Even with all the evidence they had collected, investigators wanted to make sure they had everything right before making an arrest. On September 4, 2025, police executed their search warrant at Hernandez Mendez's home. That's when they found the blood evidence, the fingernail, and other proof that Dacara had been killed in his bedroom. The next day, September 5th, police arrested Hugo Hernandez Mendez. He was taken into custody without incident and brought in for questioning. During his interview with detectives, Hernandez Mendez gave them very little useful information. He stuck to his story about going to the Galaxy nightclub to meet his ex-girlfriend. He claimed she never showed up, so he went home alone. When detectives pressed him about the evidence they had found, Hernandez Mendez denied any involvement in Dacara's disappearance or death. He acted like he had never seen her before and didn't know anything about what happened to her. But as the questioning continued and detectives presented more evidence, Hernandez Mendez realized he was in serious trouble. He stopped answering questions and asked for a lawyer. At that point, police had to end the interview. Even without a confession, prosecutors felt they had enough evidence to file charges. On September 5th, Hugo Hernandez Mendez was officially charged with first-degree murder and second-degree murder in the death of Dacara Thompson. A judge ordered that Hernandez Mendez be held without bail. This meant he would stay in jail until his trial, with no chance of getting out. Police Chief Nader told reporters that they believed Hernandez Mendez acted alone in the murder. They didn't think anyone else was involved in killing Dacara or disposing of her body. However, one big question remained unanswered. Why did Hernandez Mendez kill Dacara? Police said the motive was still under investigation. They couldn't figure out what would drive someone to commit such a horrible crime against a young woman who just wanted to help others. The arrest of Hugo Hernandez Mendez brought up serious questions about how the government handles people who are in the United States illegally and get arrested for crimes. Remember, Hernandez Mendez had been arrested by U.S. Park Police just 4 months before Dacara's murder. On April 25, 2025, he was stopped for driving under the influence on the Baltimore-Washington Parkway. The federal officers who arrested him knew he was in the country illegally. But instead of holding him or starting deportation proceedings, the federal government released him. They told him to come back for his trial date and let him go free. His DUI trial hadn't even happened yet when he killed Dacara. Prince George's County Executive Aisha Braveboy was angry about this decision. She said, "This was someone who was in their custody, and they made the decision to release him. So, I think the questions should be asked of the Justice Department." What made this even more frustrating was that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE, didn't issue a detainer for Hernandez Mendez until September 4th. That was the same day police searched his house and found evidence that he had murdered Dacara. ICE waited until after a young woman was dead to take action. ICE later released a statement blaming Prince George's County for being historically uncooperative with immigration enforcement. But county officials pointed out that the federal government had already arrested Hernandez Mendez once and chose to let him go. This case wasn't happening in isolation. Maryland had seen similar tragedies before. In 2023, a man named Victor Martinez Hernandez, who was also in the country illegally, raped and murdered a woman named Rachel Morin in Bel Air. He is now serving life in prison without parole. The year before that, in 2022, a 17-year-old from El Salvador with ties to the MS-13 gang killed 20-year-old Kayla Hamilton in Aberdeen. The victim's mother later sued the federal government for allowing the killer into the United States. These cases raised difficult questions about immigration policy and public safety. Could Dacara's death have been prevented if Hernandez Mendez had been held after his DUI arrest? Should people who are in the country illegally be released after being arrested for other crimes? County Executive Braveboy said it best. "I think that the U.S. government has made the status of individuals relevant. When someone commits a crime and is released despite being here illegally, the consequences can be deadly. Dacara's tragic death teaches us important lessons about staying safe and how communities can better protect their members. First, young adults need to be extra careful when they're out late at night. Dacara was a responsible person, but she still got into a stranger's car for reasons we may never understand. Always tell someone exactly where you're going and when you expect to be back. If your plans change, let people know right away. Never get into a vehicle with someone you don't know well, even if they seem friendly or offer to help. If you need assistance, call a family member, friend, or the police instead. Dacara's family did everything right when she went missing. They reported her disappearance quickly and started searching immediately. This fast response was crucial in helping police gather evidence and build their case. Technology played a huge role in solving this crime. Security cameras captured Dacara getting into Hernandez-Mendez's vehicle. Cell phone data helped police track his movements. Without these tools, this case might never have been solved. Communities need to invest in more security cameras, especially in parking lots and areas where people might be vulnerable. Store owners and businesses should work with police to share video when someone goes missing. Police departments also need to take missing person cases seriously from the start, especially when the missing person's behavior is completely out of character. What safety measures do you think could have helped prevent this tragedy? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a conversation about keeping our communities safer. Dacara Thompson should be remembered for who she was, not just how she died. She was a young woman who chose to spend her time helping others instead of just thinking about herself. After graduating high school, she could have done anything, but she picked a job that was all about serving her community. Hugo Hernandez-Mendez is scheduled to appear in court, where he will face trial for first-degree murder and second-degree murder. The investigation is still ongoing as prosecutors prepare their case. If you want to stay updated on this case and see justice served for Dacara, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Also, please share this video to help spread awareness about Dacara's story. Her memory deserves to live on, and her family deserves our support as they continue their fight for justice.